NFL mainly, the NBA kind of, and even a few of them, they stopped watching Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because of the social justice warrior thing. And it wasn't that they didn't like what they were doing. That's not what they turned it on for. If they want to watch social justice warriors, they'll turn on MSNBC, okay, or CNN or something else. They want to watch a football game. And they got this. And I'm going to make a point here. I've done this before. People will see my blurb out there, you know, the Greyfalcons on the James Strong Show. All right, great. Here's what they don't want to hear. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear show tunes. Mm-hmm. Nobody listening to this podcast wants to hear show tunes. Nobody does. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stop singing show tunes, and we're going to talk about this. Because that's why people watch sports. People go to work, and they bust their ass day in and day out. Some for a lot of money, some for a little money. Everybody feels they'd like to have a little bit more money, but that's just human nature, okay? But now it's the weekend. I want to sit back, pop a bud, sit down, and turn on the television, and I don't want somebody to stick their finger in my face and tell me what a bad human being I am.
Well, I'll take it one step.
Nobody wants to
I'll take it one step further. And I've gone to different places on this over the recent years, because I do believe that there are racial inequities that need to be dealt with to make
absolutely
the nation better. But the notion that being a white male makes you inherently a bad guy, and I have a lot of friends who say this to me, and they think, oh, yeah, rah, Jay will be down. And I'm saying, no. Being anything like, black women are just awesome. There's this whole thing, black men, you're a black man, you're walking on the street, I don't expect to get shot by a cop because I'm a black male, okay? I don't expect to not get hired because I don't believe in that, okay? This is the crap that I was taught when I was a kid. And when I said, well, what if that's not the case? The black Orthodox and the white liberals attacked me racially. You know what I mean?
Well,
so they created... The left has created part of this problem. I'm not saying the right is all innocent here. They're not. There's a lot of things the right does racially. Like trying to tell people that the cities are burning because the cities are not burning. Crime is still down. It's up. Murders are up recently. But it's still a lot better than it was in 1930. That being said, though, James, I remember when you commented on my page once, and this was a turning point, actually. And you made a point, and someone said, oh, well, you're a man. First, they said you're a white guy, so you can't have an opinion. Then when I said, well, you know what, he's welcome to have an opinion, then they went off on me on my page and said, oh, gee, man, nigga. And I'm like, these two white liberal women are telling us that we can't have a conversation on my page. I go, do you realize how antebellum South you are right now?
Yeah.
And they were just like, I'm so sorry. Wait a minute. Oh, and I'm like, you're not sorry.
You got caught.
You got caught. You're not sorry. You wanted to use his race against him, even though he was right, in my opinion. And then when I agreed with him, you weren't like, well, here's a black man and a white man agreeing. No, well, you're just a couple of cis men.
Yeah.
Control. It's not real. And I remember Thomas Sowell says Johnny doesn't know how to think today. That's exactly what's going on. We don't know how to think anymore.
Well, and the whole thing, you use the term cis men.
Stupid term.
Okay, so now you've just assigned a name to me that I didn't choose.
Mm-hmm.
What's that all about?
So calling you a cis man is no better than you calling somebody non-binary she. Like, so the people who...
No, that's just, to me, that's just some that's made up bullshit.
It is.
Sorry, it just is.
And we should stop acknowledging it. And if, like, for 2 years, but I did because I lived down there and I wanted to be polite.
Sure.
And then as soon as I said, hey, wait up, hold up on 2 or 3 things, all the people that I was saying they too and, making sure to be considerate, all came at me like I was a fucking KKK.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for cursing, but I'm just saying that they came at me with this it wasn't like we disagree with you, Jay. It's you don't have the right to say these things. Mm-hmm. all this time I spent saying, oh, you're they and pronouns and this and that. And as soon as I said, you know what, man, I think that this COVID policy shutdown thing is, and you notice they don't support the shutdowns anymore.
Well, yeah, because it affected their pocketbook.
But in 2 months ago, when Fauci was like, no mask, it was shut down, stay inside. Mm-hmm. You don't hear them talk about shutdowns anymore.
Because you don't get $600 a week.
Boom.
It's money. It's always about the money.
It's about money and control. And so the fact is that the shutdowns are not. That wasn't what was going on. They're now going to masks, and that's the thing they're big into now. And masks, like you said, I mean, your company has a mask policy. Mm-hmm. I'm all for voluntary mask policies. Yep. I'm not for, but they're cheering women getting tased at football games for not wearing masks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And you can go to the other extreme too. I was in it was Lowe's, okay? And this was before you had to wear a mask in Lowe's. They said, hey, we really want you to, okay? Mm-hmm. And there was this guy in Lowe's in the store. Not only did he not wear a mask, but he was chewing tobacco and spitting it on the ground. I swear to God. And I looked at that, I thought, what in God's name is that? And here's what I thought. I mean, I'm gonna have good friends hate me for this. I thought, I know that fucker's voting for Trump. I thought that because not only am I going to go wear a mask, but I'm going to spit my tobacco on the floor of the store.
92% of people who spit their tobacco on the floor vote Donald Trump. That's been documented.
92?
90. I just made it up. Whatever. Dr. Fauci makes up stuff, so why can't I?
Why not?
You know, I want to be. I want to be director of the NIH.
But that was that was a prejudging, politically incorrect thing that I thought. But it's truth. And even the Catholic Church teaches you can't control your thoughts, just your actions.
Absolutely.
That thought went through my mind, but I didn't stick a finger in his face. Hey, listen, Trumper, where's your MAGA hat? Now, if I had done that, that'd have been wrong. You can't control your thoughts.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing is like we're naturally inclined to think bad and good things. It's part of being a person.
Sure.
And that's one of the great things about art, music, and you talk about Richard Pryor. I remember he had a thing where he was talking about, he made a joke about gay people in 1979 because he left one show and started doing like this small tour thing. Mm-hmm. And he was telling the story about why he left that, his broader company. And he said because they had someone come and lecture him and say, they had a gay joke expert or something. I don't know what he was talking. Uh-huh. Yeah. And he says, okay, well, so you're telling me that you have a gay joke expert. Then he goes, where's the N-word expert? Because I say that word like 80 times this show, and nobody complains. Yeah. And the same exact thing happened with Chappelle. Yeah. The same exact thing. We're like, Dave, you can't say that about gay people or whatever. I don't know if it was about transsexuals or gay people. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, have you heard the things I say about black people? Well, that's different. That's you're black. And he's just like, but then he goes, but I'm not an N-word. That was funny.
It's hilarious. The funniest show on television now, I don't watch it enough, but people send me clips of it every now and then, and I watch it and I just roar, is Family Guy. Seth MacFarlane is hilarious. Yeah. And that's why he gets so much money. But they just make fun of everyone. Now, I don't know that this is the case. Ron White on Joe Rogan's podcast said, look, word's out that they told Seth Rogen, look, no more gay jokes. He said, and there haven't been gay jokes on Family Guy for a while. Yeah. Now, I hope that's wrong because he makes fun of absolutely everybody, and it's always hilarious.
It probably is not wrong. It's probably correct.
Yeah, and I don't get that. And again, hateful is one thing. Poking fun at is another.
Right.
It's I think it's healthy to laugh at one another. To laugh at ourselves, especially.
But I think part of the problem is that the universities tricked us during the time of Obama, maybe part of the time of Bush, where we got into this thing where we're going mad at corporations, and we're like, oh, the oil companies are so terrible, and the finance Wall Street is so terrible. But we forgot to look at the universities as corporations.
Yeah.
The profit margins universities tend to be more obnoxious than oil companies and Wall Street.
Absolutely.
And
with less investment.
With less investment. And they've found a way to become far more important compared to their contribution to our society. And the problem is that these professors sell a version of the world as this hateful, the country, America, is this hateful, like the 1619 Project. And they made these claims that are just, and again, I absolutely.
For those who don't know, explain the
1619 Project is, there's some black historians, sociologists, who made the case that America was founded specifically on the basis of slavery. And that the United States, that everything that happened in the United States centered around slavery, white supremacy, but particularly slavery. And at one point they make the claim that the Revolutionary War was fought about slavery. I mean, they actually it was just patently false.
Right.
But it doesn't matter, because if I were at the time to say it's false, then I would since most of the people who were part of this, from what I can see, are black women, they would just say I was a sexist. So they've created this matrix where...
Well, even to the point where 1619 Project, that's the date that the first slaves came over, correct? That's why they call it 1619.
Yeah. Yeah. In Jamestown and...
Right.
So... But... The matrix that isn't about defending, and again, I saw this back when I was a kid, 16, 17, where I would challenge certain things, and the idea wasn't to debate you. The idea was to put you in a situation where you're the problem, and something bad will happen if you keep doing this.
Yeah.
And in college, I was a big guy, and there wasn't that grown up thing to reinforce that. So they couldn't do that to me as much. And, I was a big guy in high school, but you're under thumb,
Sure.
You can't
You're
do
still
this.
a kid.
You're still a kid. And, but when I started hitting them with these things that I was pointing out, they were just, you're attacking us. You're betraying us. You don't like your own people. I said, these are facts. This is the data. It's like Thomas Sowell. And I didn't discover Thomas Sowell till after college. I'm like, holy crap, this is the same things that I was saying, But getting back to 1619, I mean, they're saying things that are just not, it's not about being right. They said, that's another thing they said. They said capitalism is created by slavery. That is their contention. That capitalism caused slavery, which is a completely erroneous definition of capitalism. Any working, fundamentally, intellectually honest definition of capitalism excludes slavery. By definition, slavery is not capitalism.
Well, the Civil War was fought over slavery primarily because the South felt, wait a minute, if we don't have our slaves, we can't run the plantation and we can't make money. They didn't think outside the box. Well, what if we did this and did that? It was look, this is what we have.
Yeah.
This is what's working. So in that respect, it was about capitalism. The Civil War was capitalism in the
North.
Right. Well,
because they wanted because the northern white men wanted to actually have jobs and work, and you can't really have a job in a slave society. Like white men in the South weren't carpenters. They weren't skilled tradesmen. They weren't blacksmiths. You're not going to pay a white man $25 an hour comparative now if you have a slave.
Right. Exactly.
So yes, it was fought about.
So it wasn't capitalism, but it was economic. How's that?
It was definitely economic. It was absolutely economic. But if anything, it was the ambitions of Northern capitalism against the feudalism, because that's what it was. It was brash feudalism. Chattel slavery is just brutish primal feudalism. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, the state forces you to work for that guy because you're not. Because that's not a private agreement,
right?
it was the government would stop black people who were owned from leaving the plantation.
Correct.